Even though many of us dream of retirement, it can be scary to make the decision to stop working. So how do you really know when the timing is right? In this segment, sponsored for us by Safe Harbor Retirement Group, we have President Corey Sickles sharing a few things to keep in mind as you're thinking about making that jump. So good to see you, Corey.
Good to see you, Robin.
Corey, do you find most people struggle with the financial aspect of retirement or the emotional one? Because I feel like it's a little bit of both, but it's probably heavier on one side.
Well, you know, I think the financial is, can I retire? But once they make the decision, then you kind of get into all that emotional stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for the last 40 years, you've been, you know, going into work, doing your thing, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and what are you going to do today?
Your routine is interrupted.
Exactly
yes.
right. So, I mean, yeah, so it's emotional. A lot of people don't really think about what am I going to do when I do retire. You know, I golf. I don't know if I want to golf 7 days a week, right? I mean, so you're going to have to fill that time with doing other things.
Yeah, although your swing would be great, so you might want to look into that. All right, let's digest then a few of the tips. So first up, you say you have to consider is you hit the right age. And there are kind of a couple of different ways you can go about that, right? There
is. You know, if you really think about it, for most people, full retirement age is going to be somewhere between 66 or 67. You know, here's the reason why I say that. One is if you reach your full retirement age, then you know you can go on to Medicare. That's a big part of it because healthcare is a big part of a cost when you do retire. That's one part. The second part is you really can't talk about retiring unless you talk about Social Security.
Right.
So if you retire at the age of 62, not only do you have to cover your health care cost, but you're also taking about a 30% reduction on what you would receive from your full retirement age. So, you know, hitting that magic number somewhere between 65 to 67 is important for most people to try to strive to.
And you have often mentioned too, because when you trigger it, you trigger it.
You trigger it. That's exactly right.
There's no going back. All right. Second up, you say is to consider your debt. Does that mean none? Or you got to look at little, you know, parts and pieces of that?
In an ideal situation, you know, you definitely would want to try to get rid of your, you know, if you have a mortgage, you want to try to get rid of that.
Okay.
That's your number one expense in retirement. Number two is health care, and that's not going away. So you know, hopefully you're going to be close to, you know, getting rid of that mortgage payment. But then you also kind of have to look at, you know, hopefully you don't have car payments. Hopefully you don't have credit card payments. So you know, all those little other payments that that you might have, you want to get rid of all that into retirement because while you're working, you're not on a fixed budget.
Right.
When you're retired, you're on a fixed budget. So getting to be as debt-free as you possibly can is a plus.
And the other thing you now say, which is happening more and more these days, is to not be supporting other people, as in your kids still, and even your parents, because that happens a lot.
It does. Yeah, one thing you don't want to have happen is you go into a situation when you're on a budget and you're still giving money to your kids, maybe even sometimes your grandkids. You know, I have a lot of clients that are actually, they end up adopting their grandkids today. So that's another one. And then, of course, you don't want to be in a situation where you're also paying, you know, actually physically paying for your parents, you know, for their health care or for whatever whatever their situation they're in. Because, you know, if you're not on a fixed budget, it's going to be tough to retire. And you don't want to, because you're really at that point just taking the money away from your retirement.
Well, and that goes into the next one, which is you say you should have a retirement budget. So you should put pen to paper, right, and kind of put down all your expenses.
You definitely need to do that. I talk about it all the time. You need to have a financial plan. And then really the only way to do that is know how much do I need to retire? And let's face it, and everyone experienced this last year, you have inflation.
Yeah.
Right? So even though this is your budget today, we know it's going to be higher tomorrow, and that's why you need to know what that is. All
right, Corey, the other one you say is update your portfolio, which is obvious, like you have talked about so many times, but I want to make sure we get this last one in because it's kind of funny, but it's true because a lot of people don't consider your spouse has to be on board with this, right?
That's exactly right. There's a lot of times where believe me, I'm meeting with clients and prospects, and you know the husband will say, or the wife will say that I plan on retiring in 3 months, and it catches them off guard, right? So back to your original point at the beginning, financially and emotionally, right? The spouse, you and your spouse need to make sure that financially you're going to be good, but more importantly, emotionally you're going to be good.
Yeah.
As you know, because
you need their support.
Exactly right. You know, it's a team. You need to be on the same page when both of you go into retirement or one of you go into retirement.
And I know when my dad retired, he had to make sure that my mom found a hobby when she retired. So that happens too. All right, Corey will help you update your portfolio too. Of course, if you need help in that avenue, complimentary consultations, and they can be done by calling or going to the website. Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Robin.